delving a little bit deeper into it, you start to ask questions. Why did it begin? What happened at the beginning of the Second World War? And obviously, because I'm half Polish, I started to ask further questions and wanting to discover more about my roots and my Polish connection.
Sure.
And because I didn't really know much about Polish history at that point. And obviously, the Second World War began by Germany invading Poland in 1939, the 1st of September. But my mother's side of the family come from Poland.
Right, okay.
And they come from southern Poland, and obviously their experience of the Second World War and their experience of the years post-war were completely different to what happened in Britain. It's a fascination for me, for sure.
Okay, it's a really unusual, it's a very unusual area for exploration in music, I guess, because it's so horrific in some respects that it's quite difficult to avoid that.
Yeah, no, I mean, each Britain and Poland have very similar things, but in common. But then there is a huge gulf of experience that people in Poland have experienced that people in Britain during this time of the Second World War and obviously the post-war years, because it's quite a monumental things happened in both countries.
Absolutely, but do you get? I mean, the impression I have is that many people of that generation actually look back on the Second World War almost with some, not affection, but that in this country there were experiences that people had that were actually positive. And I guess things like music reflected that.
Yeah, I mean, music is a language that a lot of different cultures can connect with. And there's one song that I sing on this first single of mine called Lily Marlene, and that was translated in every single language.
But it was a German song, wasn't it? It
was a German song, in 1908 it was written.
Yeah.
But it was actually sung in every single language in the whole of Europe. And I can sing this song to any nationality of that generation of people that are the same generation as my grandma, who experienced the Second World War, and they will know this song. They will know the tune, but obviously the words are different in each language. But they'll know the song. Yeah.
I've always thought it's quite ironic that one of the great popular songs of the period here was a German song, and I wonder how aware people were that they were singing the same song that probably people in Berlin and Munich were singing themselves.
It's an incredible song, and that's the power of music. It transcends cultural boundaries, and it transcends all sorts of different, barriers.
Yeah.
But I think obviously, people, when I talk to my grandma, my British grandma, she's looking fondly, well, not in many respects looking fondly because of the community angle of the Second World War.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were a lot of very difficult things that people had to go through in the Second World War. And I suppose that level of affection, there is a level of affection towards that idea with Polish people, but it's on a different level because Poland was occupied by both the Germans and the Soviets.
Yeah.
And so the way the Polish people look back at that era, they were fighting for independence for Poland, and obviously after the Second World War they were given to the Soviets, so they never had a victory day, and they never had a chance to really pay homage to all the people that fought for Poland and then were thrown into Soviet jails after the war had ended. So yeah.